Fuck yes, welcome back to Happy New Year. Host always Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, is Jonathan Hardesty.
I'm here.
Emily Blake.
Hi.
And nobody else. Chewie has to go get her foot looked at because she ran in the wrong shoes. Poor Chewie. I feel so bad. She almost broke her ankle while trying to train for a half marathon.
She's just not having the luck with that.
Yeah.
Is she still gonna run?
I don't think so. She was debating on it, but that's
Weak. Weak, Chewie.
What the fuck is she thinking? Who needs ankles?
Just toss yourself down the road.
Yeah, just roll.
They're just there for decoration.
Yeah.
Run like that Google AI that I've been seeing on Facebook, where it's just like,
Yeah, it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
Mid-coffee break. Okay, and then we have back from what, a week ago. We have Jason 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I think.
I think it was only 1 week in podcast land.
Oh, really?
In our world, it's only been 1 week. Right.
Well, I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Hello.
Jason Blackman. Hi, Jason.
From outer
Hello.
space.
I have you on this week because I saw this movie with you in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're one of the only people I knew and hang out with regularly who was like, yeah, we need to go see that movie.
I was genuinely excited.
Yeah, even Chewie was kind of like, I know we have to see it.
and what's funny is my girlfriend said the same thing. I know
Yeah.
you really want to see it. So.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know we're gonna end up at it at some point. And then, God, I haven't seen you in nearly 10 years. We have Chris Hayden on. It's been so long.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I mean, when we were in college together, you were known as the guy who had made a Power Rangers short film.
Yes.
Which I still haven't seen.
It's one of those things that's always it's in development. We'll go
It's
with that.
still in development?
Yeah.
10 years later?
Yeah. Well, then it's been so long that now I need to figure out how to like plus up all the footage because the sizing was so different even like 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So so that's the newest.
Yeah.
What do you
That's
mean?
the
You
update.
gotta plus up 720.
Yeah. But yes, I'm proud to be the Power Rangers guy wherever I go.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, you rocked the pink Power Ranger hoodie at the opening night of this one, right?
yeah, I went
Yeah.
to the opening night, rocked the hoodie, rocked the communicator, and some guy in the lobby was like, "Let me take a picture with you," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And it turned out to be John Gattens, the writer from the movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, "Hey, totally worth the pink hoodie in public."
Yeah, and then you were on a Power Rangers podcast for a while, weren't you?
Yeah, I did a Ranger Cast, which was a podcast back in the day. There's still there's more Power Rangers podcasts now, but yeah, I loved to just kind of jump in. It was definitely more in college and when I first moved out here when I had a little more free time.
Wait, I'm sorry to step. Power Rangers podcast. Does that mean you would go back and look at old episodes, or would you go up to date? Like it would talk about the recent episode that aired.
It would talk about the recent episode that aired. So that was probably
Holy
in
hell,
like
that's
2000, 2008 or so, because the show's been on consistently for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2008. Which season was that?
Oh gosh, 2008. That had to be,
Dino or something.
I think, SPD.
That's the one with the big dog chief, right?
Yeah.
That turns into a ranger with the big ears in his helmet.
Shadow Ranger, yes.
I saw some of that with the Twitch
Yep.
Twitch stream of Power Rangers, and I was like, oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
That was a thing. I missed it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, we actually have friends who are good friends with the Yellow Ranger from that series.
Monica?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love Monica.
Some good shit. And now we're diving down a deep nerd hole that nobody else here cares about. So let's move into...
Oh, yeah. What are we here for?
Yeah. Let's talk a quick where have you been doing. I'll go first. I saw Spider-Man Homecoming. And it was fine.
Oh, come on!
It was fine.
It was fun.
Sure. Parts of it were. I mean, it was fine.
What did you think of the end credit scene? The end credits.
That was great. That was the funniest. That was the best joke in the whole movie.
Yeah.
But no, otherwise, I mean, it's not made for people in their 30s. It is made for teenagers, and that's fine. So was the
fair.
movie that we're talking about today.
It definitely
That's why I
is.
like
Yeah, and I can totally get into that. It's fine. But if that was the audience they're going for, they put the wrong They put the wrong Spider-Man in the suit. That should have been a Miles Morales movie. It was the wrong
I would
choice.
love to see Miles
Yep.
Morales.
And the fact that they hinted at him even made that insult worse. It was in my opinion, it was the wrong person to Spider-Man.
I
suit.
think
Did
one
you
thing
have
that's-
fun? Sorry.
Not really.
Oh.
I thought it was fine. I watched Robert Downey Jr. cash a paycheck. He did not want to be in that movie at all. Like, and it was fine. There's some good jokes. It was entertaining, but I mean, it was fine.
I think it's interesting you mentioned Miles Morales because I've seen a lot of people. Now, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen a lot of people go, "Oh, this diverse casting! Look how diverse this movie is." I heard there's barely any women in it, but also like
There's two.
Yeah, yeah. So, but they're talking
2.5 if you count
Three.
Aunt May.
They're talking
Yeah.
so much
She's
about
barely in the movie.
diverse casting and like rewarding it for diverse casting, because like they had a non-white Spider-Man and they ignored him to go
Yeah.
back to the well. So yes, great diversity, but let's not give them too much credit because
Yeah.
they still won't put.
They don't get a cookie for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no cookie for Spider-Man: Homecoming.
I mean, they get a raisin cookie, half of one maybe.
yeah, I'll give him half a raisin cookie.
Half a raisin cookie, yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to be rushing out. Like, I will happily watch a sequel. I think Tom Holland did a good job with the character. I'm not like annoyed that he is Spider-Man. I thought he did fine. All in all, I think the movie, I give it like a 7 out of 10. It's not the best movie ever. It's middling for Marvel. It was okay. It was definitely worth your time. But everyone telling you it's the best Marvel movie in the entire world, I think they're on crack.
Did they not see Guardians 2?
Yeah, I love Guardians 2. It was great. It actually told a story. It had consequences. It was fantastic. This movie starts and basically ends in the same place. It's okay. It is definitely worth your time if you like Spider-Man. If you don't, this is not going to win you over.
If you like status quo.
Yeah. John, what about you? What have you been doing?
So we recently grabbed the Disney collection on Xbox. They repackaged the 90s Nintendo Disney collection games.
Oh, yeah.
So Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 1 and 2, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales 1 and 2, and Tailspin from the NES era.
DuckTales. Fuck that shit.
They were promoting this
They-
like crazy at WonderCon. It
Yeah,
looked awesome.
They added a rewind feature so you can basically win without any problem, just to get through the games, to experience them. And they made them just so you could experience the game and not have to be too hung up on the difficulty, which I still was. I got worse at games, apparently.
It was just a different way to play back then.
Yeah. But then there's also like boss modes where you can just fight all the bosses and do a time attack for that. They've added so much stuff and all this like behind the scenes stuff. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because my headphone keeps popping out and it's just that.
You can keep talking. It's okay.
Okay, cool.
I'll let you know.
All right, good. But yeah, really fun. It was on sale, so it was really cheap. And if you want to have a hit of nostalgia for the Nintendo era, I would recommend it.
Cool. Jason, what about you?
Before everyone goes out to watch Game of Thrones this Sunday, I've been watching The Defiant Ones.
You mean last Sunday?
Oh yeah, because
Yep.
last Sunday.
That's the way
Time
podcast.
That's when
travel.
podcasts go out. Yeah,
Timey-wimey.
We are talking to the future.
We also know which guy they cast for the Doctor.
Yep.
By now.
Yeah, but yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so excited about that guy who
I'm
was
really
cast.
excited about the black lady that they cast.
Is that
be
is
really
it-
exciting.
it's rumored? But is this gonna be? Is that actually gonna be her? Because I mean, it's been rumored a
Who?
lot.
Oh no, I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't think it is.
It's what's her name from the Netflix, not Netflix show.
I don't pay any attention to those rumors because there's been so many rumors and people.
Seriously,
This is
though.
absolutely the person. And then there was that. Okay, we'll get. You know what? Let's not get.
It's
down.
gonna. Yeah. It's a
I
deep
can
rabbit
rant
hole.
like
yeah.
for the rest of the hour
Definitely.
about this whole.
And I'm
topic,
sure you'd
so.
rather than talk about Power Rangers,
Yeah.
but no.
on a complete shift from everything you guys talk about, from everything that probably goes that in the nerd geekdom world, The Defiant Ones on HBO. It's 4 episodes. They're about each episode is a little over an hour to an hour 25, and it's just about Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre's rise. And despite
I heard this is fantastic.
despite the
Yeah.
controversy behind Dr. Dre and what he's been accused of versus what he's gone to jail for, it still is an unbelievably cool thing to watch, and the storytelling they do in it is really fun. They really dive deep in finding footage from throughout their past. And for Dr. Dre's story, for at least the first 2 episodes, it's interesting to watch that versus what you saw in Straight Outta Compton. But in Jimmy Iovine's story, it's just the most insane stories that are just really cool, and the way they recreate them is great. The show, literally the first minutes of the show, open up with the fact that they talk about how they sold Beats by Dre to Apple, and how on Friday the day where they basically said, okay, we're gonna do this deal on Monday, or they're gonna do this deal next week. Jimmy Iovine says to Dr. Dre, don't go anywhere. Don't tell anyone anything. Just don't do anything. Almost like Robert De Niro in Goodfellas, where don't buy anything flashy. Just have a normal weekend, stay at home, and then that night, Dr. Dre gets drunk with the actor Tyrese, and they're on Facebook screaming how they're going to be billionaires. And so, and rumors start flying through the through finance world, going like, oh, Beats is going to be sold to Apple and all of that. It was just really, and the way they tell that, even that story is amazing.
I'll have to check it out.
It's a really, like, for 4 hours, it's an amazing documentary.
Awesome.
Cool.
Nice.
Emily, what about you?
About 2 years ago, I decided to watch Star Trek, all of it. So I started with Enterprise because chronological order, why not? And then I am now in season 5 of Voyager of 7. I have like 7 seasons of Voyager. I have taken periodic breaks and then gone back to it, but like I actually had seen maybe 2 episodes of Voyager. It's the one show I barely watched any of. So now I'm like almost at the end of it, and I've been watching it like I've been mainlining this one pretty hard because I hadn't seen so many episodes that I'm like, what's gonna happen? I don't know. I know how the overall show ends, but like relationships, I don't know. I keep and my roommate is like a Star Trek obsessed person, so I'll be like, but are Janeway and Chakotay ever gonna get together? And he's like, no. And I'm really distraught by that. Or like there's an episode, I'm really into B'Elanna and Tom's relationship because I'm a relationship shipper. I totally am, dude. I love that shit. I love romance and sci-fi stories. And like there was an episode where Tom and B'Elanna got married, and I was like, Brian, my roommate's name is Brian, and I was like, Brian, they're getting married. I'm so happy. And then at the end of the episode, it turns out no, that was just like a different. They're not getting married, and I was like all crushed. So this has like been fun because I don't know how this turns out, and I'm very excited because there's still Star Trek mystery to me. But that's been fun. I really enjoy a lot of episodes of Voyager. There's some duds, but a lot of them are really cool, and the quality, like the show was pretty good. And then I think adding 7 of 9 was one of the best decisions they could possibly have made on that show because she brought so much. Like you can see the show get so much darker, more serious, more like about something really deep, and she's amazing. And also I would die if I had to wear that costume.
Yeah, I told myself I was going to watch all of Star Trek, and I started about a year ago. I made 2 episodes in. I'm like, nah, I don't like it.
Oh,
That was the end.
I'm so sad because you got to power through. Not every episode's good.
My journey through Star Trek, a 2-act play by Bryan.
Episode 1, not bad. Episode 2, I'm good.
Yeah, I never did the series. I just did the movies. Oh well, and
The
I
movies
should
were included
clarify,
in my watch.
Not the OG movies, the J.J. Abrams movies.
Those are also great. Star Trek, if I was like that desert island, you can only bring one movie question, Star Trek 2009 would be the one I'd bring. I never tire of watching that movie. Yes, I never get tired of watching that movie. Ever.
Chris, what about you? What have you been doing?
Well, I went with. I actually read this right after the Power Rangers movie came out, and I reread it this week for homework. But I was doing the Power Rangers Aftershock comic, which fans probably know about, but kind of the more
I should take a look at it.
Yeah, go for it. It's here on the table, just so you guys know.
Along with your copious notes on this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I was very thorough. But the Power Rangers Aftershock comic picks up right after the movie leaves off. And they don't get they can't do too much, obviously, because they don't want to trump any potential sequel, which I may or may not have it at this point.
The extended universe woes.
Yeah.
Any sort of property.
But it kind of picks up where the city is in the aftermath of Rita's attacks and with FEMA coming in and that sort of thing. It's from Boom Studios, who is, I think, within the last 2 years, kind of relaunched this alt universe Power Rangers timeline, which the comics have been, I mean, a lot of the fans would concur that it's worlds above the stuff they're doing on the show, which is
fantastic.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, I've bought all the comics at this point because of the hype. After the hype, but I haven't read the series comics. This is the only comic I read from Boom Studios, but they've been doing some really cool work, really cool artwork, a lot of caring treatment that some of the past installments of the series haven't necessarily reflected. But it has way more Power Rangering than the actual movie itself, which is cool. And you can check that out at your local comic store, or the Power Rangers Steelbook from Target comes with the mini version of the comic if you're looking to check that out. So
Cool.
I highly recommend it, just for the sake of being a completionist and checking out the story and seeing kind of the little winks they give and a little more detail where you can't necessarily get into the exposition in the movie, but it deals with, like, you know, Rita's like enchanted gold that's left behind and like how that affects the city and that sort of thing. So it's cool. I recommend it.
I'd have to check it out. I haven't read that one. I've been reading the series just when the trades came out. I was buying the books every month when they're coming out. And
Yeah.
then I kind of fell behind because each book dedicates the last third to this really annoying Bulk and Skull story that I don't care about at all. And I'm like, I'll just wait till the trade comes out and I can just skip all that bullshit. But
Yeah, they've done a couple annuals at this point, and they're doing like side offshoot stories. Like they just announced some
the original Rangers.
Yeah, in like 1963, I think.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting. Obviously it's all timeline, so they get to do kind of whatever they want without worrying about the repercussions on like the continuity of the series. But
Well, it picks up right after. Yeah, that's the actual first issue and the back of that thing. But yeah, it picks up right after Jason is no longer mind fucked by Rita, and then it gives an alternate like what happened after that. So that's where it picks up in like the show, and then just does its own thing.
got it.
And it's awesome. If you like Power Rangers at all, or liked it when you were a kid, that book is fantastic. Speaking of Power Rangers.
Speaking of Power Rangers,
So we watched a movie this week, and we all loved it.
No.
Wait, really? Is this a mixed table?
It is a mistake.
It's just me versus the world right now.
No, that's okay because I can see it from both sides. This is
Yeah,
an okay movie, but like,
and I'm
yeah.
very mediocre on it.
Great.
I'm total
Okay.
middle.
And
of the
I am,
middle.
it's full blown flawless.
We're gonna. I was about to say we're gonna arm wrestle,
let's
but
break
that's
it
not
down.
a good idea for me. I think you have a distinct advantage in that.
You'd be surprised at how weak these things are. But yeah,
You
so,
got production coordinator arms.
which means nothing. But yeah, so the movie came out earlier this year. It did not that great. Cost $100 million. Made it 85 stateside. Made like another, I think, 50 overseas. I think ended around.
all it made
150.
overseas.
Yeah,
You think it did well
140
did not
overseas?
do
Nope.
well.
140 worldwide.
Yeah, it did not do well, and apparently the director is still pushing really hard to get a sequel out there because this movie has a ton of nods to it, but we don't know yet.
Well, they put this movie together thinking that they had 7 movies to play out the storyline on, which was probably one of its cardinal sins.
Yeah,
Never,
that was
ever do
that's an
that.
ambitious goal for a 90s franchise. You're
Plan
like-
for the one movie you have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
that the best you can.
Yeah, and then you can leave little nods for sequels, but you don't need to all right, so here's this huge open door that we're not gonna walk through.
Yeah.
Lost in Space comes to mind.
I'll
never get over that.
I enjoyed that movie.
I love Lost.
That
in
movie
But it
Space.
was so set up, so like, yeah, we're gonna get sequels and more sequels.
Yeah.
And
What do you mean
Joey.
nobody saw it?
It was one of those DVDs that came if you like bought a DVD player. And
That's how I got it.
DVDs. Yeah, that's how my dad got it.
Yeah.
I'm of
Granted,
the-
I saw it in theaters twice because I'm a dork.
I'm
but,
of the
you know.
opinion it needs to be on Criterion.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yep.
Heather Graham needs to have at
I'd
least
buy
one
that.
movie on Criterion, right?
Boogie Nights isn't on Criterion.
Oh, that one might be. I kind of forget about that one. I forget
circling
that she's
back-
in a good movie.
Circling back to box office, I think that like the box office didn't do that great. It didn't do that great internationally. But if there's anyone who would push through a sequel and throw that money behind it anyway, it would be Heimspawn.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that and
Completely agree.
And the toys sold.
The toys sold, and the home end has been Power Rangers has been at the top of the home end charts for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, so we might not see a theatrical release, but they
Yeah.
might do like a Netflix thing. There's a chance. I've been trying to read about like other ways. Like they really want to make a sequel. They just have to make it financially viable first. So I will wait very agonizingly for a sequel that I might never get.
Yeah.
But before we dive into this thing too far, I think it's time for a breakdown. John, are you ready?
I'm good.
Chris, are you ready?
Oh, this is on me.
Yep.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I mean, we'll try it out. We'll see how this goes.
Okay, so Chris, Power Rangers in 30 seconds. Here we go.
Remember everything you knew and loved about the Power Rangers as a kid? Well, kiss it goodbye because the Power Rangers movie is doing its own thing. Kind of, but also not completely for some reason. There you go.
You have 15 seconds to say what happens in the movie.
Oh, so you want to know what happens in the movie?
10 seconds.
There's a bunch of powers, 5 kids, and an alien who lives on a hard drive gives them some powers, and there you go.
I like that. I actually a guy who lives on a hard drive.
No mention of them going swimming though.
I would
There was a
say
lot of
that was
swimming.
pretty good.
That was pretty
I mean,
Yeah. Well, you can easily just say
I mean, it's
Breakfast
not
Club.
complex.
it is
meets
complex, but that
powers.
was pretty good. Yeah.
Breakfast Club meets superpowers.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, Breakfast Club meets Chronicle, really. Although,
Chronicle,
Yeah,
Chronicle, but
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, there is somebody who'd be very mad about that statement.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Two-
if
two-
you wanted
two
like
people.
the bad version of Chronicle, then you'd have this one.
It's the Breakfast Club book ended with action.
The first, about like 5 minutes in, I just thought it's like the entire CW network and a Transformers movie got thrown into a blender and just somebody just hit pulse like 30 times, and that's what this movie is.
They do make a reference to
They
Transformers.
do. They call it out. They're
Sorry,
like, yes,
Bumblebee.
we know as we're about to construct a giant robot made of our Dinobots.
Swords.
Whatever.
Zord.
Dino
They're
cars.
like, oh, sorry, Bumblebee, as they hit a yellow car. And it's like, okay, well, at least you're acknowledging it.
Well, I mean, they're teenagers. If they were to hit a yellow fast car, they would make that joke.
Sure.
They've seen Transformers. This all tracks.
I guess.
Then I'm like, why would you call a car a bee?
That
doesn't make any
That
sense.
doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's on Transformers, not on Power Rangers. For Christ's sake.
You wouldn't say sorry, Camaro.
Okay, so let's jump into this thing. I think the best place to start with this thing is with the immediate influences, not counting the original series.
They used tropes that work. That
Oh, that's fair.
you know what I mean. They just
Yeah.
use tropes that work that put the movie together. Unfortunately, they're common tropes.
Well, the only reason why I say rip off is specifically with Breakfast Club in mind, and it wasn't really like they'd mentioned that a lot when they were making the film. That like, oh, we're going to kind of use Breakfast Club as a framing device, whatever. I mean, fuck, so did Spider-Man. But the thing that really stuck out to me was that Billy and then Brian in the Breakfast Club both end up in their like detention because they have something explode in their locker. And it's like, all right,
Okay.
let's take one step back. Like, I get what we're doing here, but the nerdy guy in both of them both have things that explode in their lockers, so they both end up in detention. It's like, all right, somebody should have said, all right, maybe we should change why he's in detention for something. I don't know.
I will say the thing that really caught my eye first in this is that 360 rotating scene after trying to hide the cow in the locker room.
I wanted to talk
the
about this.
car.
Did all of you
Sick
like
watching
it?
I loved it.
I hated it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I didn't entirely love it. I thought it was interesting and it was unique.
Well, had they actually lit it, so you could actually see what was going on, it might have
Yeah.
been interesting. But I was like, the things I could see, I was like, I like what you're doing on a conceptual filmmaking level. I like those things in editing.
Absolutely.
And just like a long take that's just spinning around in like this crazy wild chaos of whatever they're doing, and then it never pays off or anything like that.
yeah.
And it's hard to see, and you're kind of like, oh, okay.
And I
this is
think
cool.
that's one of the reasons I just got off to a real bad start with this movie. And as I was watching this movie, I was like, oh, this is the first time I'm going to have to be really super negative about a movie. I hope no one in this business is actually listening and then like hold it against me. But like, first of all, the first thing we see of our hero, they're making a joke about jerking off a bull. So I was already like, oh, really? We're going there? Okay. Also, that kid is so stupid that he didn't realize that the animal with the horns that is the team mascot, the bulls, was a boy. Anyway, but then we get into that 360 spinning thing, and I was just like, please stop. Like physically, I was like, stop, because like you said, it was really dark, and I was getting like, what? Stop moving. Oh god, stop moving the camera. Like I know that was a stylistic choice, but like my head was just like, no. When the actual crash started happening, that was pretty cool. But
Oh
the,
yeah,
like,
no,
See,
I had a traumatic episode because I've been in a crash like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh god, like
See,
I
but
generally don't like to see those.
But that's why I like that sequence, and why I think it worked was because it is totally, this kid is a kid. He's this terrible driver, and like by having that in there and having you going like, oh god, stop. That's exactly what he should be feeling right there. Like
it's
I
not
think
very
that
pleasant. Like it's
No,
the
it shouldn't
beginning
be.
of the movie, and I'm
But-
already like, I hate this movie because I'm uncomfortable.
But I
And it's
like
not like it's a David Lynch film.
Can
you
I
know?
ask a question though? To jump a step backward in that scene, they had a bull or they had a cow, whatever.
Bull.
in this locker room, right?
Yep.
Whose locker room is that?
I think it was supposed to be the opposing.
Okay, yeah, because they say "Go Tigers" later on, and
Yeah.
I was confused on. Wait, what's the mascot for their school? It was for the opposing
That's a
team.
good point. Let's talk about how lame that is as a prank. To
No,
bring-
that's not a lame prank. That's actually a pretty decent prank.
But no, you're bringing that team's mascot to its locker room.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's yeah.
it's like, thank you. We've been looking for Bessie this whole time.
But yeah, I was
We
like,
named
"Go
him
Tigers."
Bessie,
I
so
got
what?
immediately confused, and they never really did. They make it clear that I miss that it's the opposing team.
I didn't understand.
I mean,
what
that's
was
kind of
going
what I assumed it was.
Yeah, they don't make it super.
I mean, I'm not
clear.
asking for it to be spoon fed, but it was
Sure.
just, it was funny. I was just
on.
like,
It
wait,
could, I mean, I
Go
think it could
Tigers.
have been spoon fed in this
Yeah,
regard.
yeah. Even as I sit here, I'm like, what? Did they bring it into their own locker room because Jason's all like anti-establishment, or
Yeah.
did they bring it
Yeah.
into
That's what I thought.
the other locker room? Either way, it wasn't a great prank.
this is nitpicking, but still, I found it interesting.
Sure.
When did that kid jerk it off? And Like, why did he think he needed to milk
The
the boy
questions
cow?
that matter.
What did he
I
do?
mean, clearly this kid's an idiot, and there's a reason he's not in the rest of the movie.
or one of the Rangers, yeah.
Yeah.
What did he do with that milk?
Why is
All
it so
right.
thick? Is it already spoiled?
Anyway.
My cereal tastes terrible.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
There's also Ed Sheeran in detention that's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the first like detention sequence. Like I I think it's a pretty good introduction to the three of them that are in there. The bulk skull character I could kind of do without, but
Is that who they were? Like, is
Yeah,
that-
no, I mean they don't. There's no bulk and skull in this thing.
Yeah.
They need. It's a high school movie. They needed a bully, so they put
Right.
the ginger kid as the bully. But
Ed Sheeran.
yeah,
Typical gingers,
yeah.
always bullying people.
they're either bullies or being bullied. There's no normal ginger. Oh, if Ryan was still here, he'd be like, I'm a normal ginger.
Except he like put us in a locker.
Yeah.
Shoved us in a locker and was like, haha, you suck, nerds. I'm gonna go read Spider-Man.
I mean, it was the detention room was very angsty. Like the
Yeah.
angst level was like way up
So
there.
I'm saying
good.
it was
That
very,
worked.
It was very CW. It
Yeah.
all felt, yeah.
But that, I mean, that's kind of what I expect from Power Rangers.
Sure.
Is that sort of like CW-ish, angsty like thing? I mean, you go back to the show. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not. Like, they say teenagers with attitude is like the classic.
They mean
like,
20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But I mean, still, like they're supposed to be kind of grumpy teenagers. I don't know why that makes for the best warriors in the universe, but whatever. I guess Zordon has some odd taste. But yeah, I kind of like the way that they establish that in that whole sequence. Like I like the way that like Jason is immediately ready to stand up for the little guy. I like how they kind of just jettison Kimberly from her like popular clique immediately, and then Billy's set up as the guy who's willing to follow right away. Like they get all like the character tropes out the door and in there like immediately. And I think they do a pretty good job with it. I'm gonna keep saying immediately. Apparently, the rest of the podcast.
You know, Kimberly goes through a tough time because she cuts her hair with scissors.
That's how girls deal.
But-
When we're, I can confess this, when we are upset, we immediately cut our hair.
It's
And
so-
everything is fine after that.
and then
I just do it
everyone
with my
is-
beard, so I've been really happy for a while now.
To jump forward a little bit, Kimberly. So when they're talking about all of their negatives in the fire on the fire scene, Kimberly doesn't want to talk, but it's just because she is the bully.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I found that so interesting that like the movie sets it up as we should feel sorry for her. Fine. Like
Yeah.
I go. Let me be very clear. I went along with this movie,
Right.
But at the beginning, we feel sorry for whatever the friends may be. But at the end, we're sorry. Wait, but she was the bully.
Yeah, at the
yeah,
end, she's the worst.
They also try to figure out like who's to blame for not being able to morph, and then at the campfire she just basically outs herself, being like, "I'm not going to give my secrets." Okay, so you're the
Oh, so you're the problem?
You're
But
the
but also, like, is that the worst secret? Like, I guess internally, yeah, I'll take the fact that like whatever secret you may have, you may have an trouble with sharing it, and even after all of this.
But it's not even that big of a secret. Like everyone knows that she did it.
Well,
so
but-
it's
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Well, can I point that
Yeah.
out, though? That scene really bugged me, where she's talking to him about what she did.
and she's the victim.
Where she's like, see this picture on my phone of my friend
yeah,
giving
she
a
shares-
dude a blowjob?
yeah, she shares-
Sharing this picture is the worst
Resharing.
thing I've ever done. I'm holding it up.
Look at it.
Like, look at this picture I took that ruined all my friendships and is the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
Yes.
Have you seen it yet? And she kind of holds it there for a while,
But-
too. And she's like, look at it!
Just a
I do
reference for the
like that Jason goes, delete the photo.
You can delete that. And she's like, you can't erase it. And I'm like, you can't.
Yeah, yeah.
You can.
You physically are capable
You
of
should
a
stop
little-
carrying around.
there's a little
when you
trash
turn
bin.
18, that photo is going to become a problem for you.
Yeah.
Delete the photo.
Like, can you imagine that being your friend and knowing she has a picture of you that she's still showing to people, and she's like, oh, "I'm having such a hard life. I feel so bad about doing this thing." And if that was my friend, I'd be like, "Oh my god, you fucking cunt!"
Well, and there's a deleted scene where she's talking to Zordon. She's confiding in him. And she pulls the phone and is like, see what's going on? And Zordon's like, what is this?
Wait, really?
No.
I was like, I didn't watch all of the deleted scenes yet, but I haven't.
But now I am.
This picture is why we can't morph.
Zordon's unaffected. He's crawling around naked anyway.
What is that?
Why were the other Rangers
Why does that man
naked?
have one udder?
There were no clothes millions of years ago.
I guess, yeah, they just had the
Ju-
blue scaly
just the
skin.
suits.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a foreign concept. Yeah, I was really disappointed with Kimberly in general. I think that was one of my biggest gripes with this movie.
My biggest gripe is a controversial one, but go ahead with Kimberly.
Kimberly was my favorite Ranger, as is evidenced by all this Pink Ranger memorabilia
You do
on
have
the
quite a
table. In the movie, in the series, like, I loved her, and I was really looking forward to what they would do with her in this movie. And she just sucks. Like, she's just like, she's just all about, like, I mean, they try to make her sympathetic and make her like want to feel sorry for her, but like she's, like you said, she's the bully. And like then you have like the two girls who you're supposed to like not like, and you're supposed to be like when they drop the putty arm lands on their car like during the battle.
They're like, ha! But no, they're like, oh,
she's
that's
like,
four
It sucks.
girls.
Yeah, she's like,
they
that's
probably
what-
can't afford to fix that.
yeah, she's like, that's what you get. And I'm like, well, I mean, even though she's kind of a bitch character, or they're trying to make her seem like one, like she's still got like revenge porn by Kimberly.
Yeah.
So
How dare you get mad at me for
yeah,
showing
like
up?
we're supposed to feel sorry for Kimberly because her friends won't be friends with her after she.
I mean,
like,
she did
spreads-
stab the wall and the picture with a scissors.
That's true.
That's pretty dark. I guess she
After
deserves
cut
it.
her-
She does deserve to get her
again,
car
she-
fucked up.
She cut her hair, which makes everything
Also-
fine. They clearly weren't obeying the rules of being a girl. Like once you cut your hair,
Yeah.
it's like the universe.
Yeah.
Like, look, I sacrificed too.
Well, and the director said something along the lines of like, well, you know, he was defending like the revenge porn storyline, and I'm like, it's not the storyline that people are having a problem with. It's the fact that Kimberly does this and there's no consequences for it, and you're supposed to feel sorry for her because
She
she
goes
got
to detention.
exposed. Sure. But she gets a haircut at detention, so is it really that bad?
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice haircut.
And,
Yeah,
and the detention guy lets her go to the bathroom. He's like, oh, yeah, just do whatever you want in
that's-
detention.
But that's sort of like just you see a befuddled man who's just like, I don't want to
Oh.
deal with these kids on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'll
Mm-hmm.
that I'll
I've
give
been
to the
in
movie.
when I was a teacher, I've been in a situation where we did not let a kid go to the bathroom, and it went very bad. So I think
Yeah.
it's a good idea to let the kid go to the
Yeah,
bathroom.
usually it is.
Yeah.
There's that one kid in Japan who died, or that could be an urban legend. Who knows? But no, I agree with the whole like the gripes against Kimberly. It was a very weird thing, and it feels like one of those things where it's like it was fine, like in script, and it was like one of the, like I'm guessing probably like somewhere down the line of like test audiences like, oh no, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well,
huge
that was like
mistake.
the Kimberly Jason romance that they ended up
Yeah.
downplaying in the final cut.
Yeah, it's like
It does make you wonder though how that revenge porn storyline got all the way through all the people it had to get through, and no one was like, this is not a good idea.
well, and like it's interesting when you look at how this movie was like made. Specifically, like this has been such a cut down movie. Like there's been so many reshoots and so many things that went into it.
It's like a 3-hour film originally.
Yeah, like friend of the show,
Jesus.
Chris from last week. He helped with like the trailer in this thing, and he said when the first cut they got was about 3.5 hours long.
Wow.
And it's like super long, and they said the tone was just all over the place, from like slapstick comedy to dark teenage drama. And it's like I feel like they just kind of threw shit at a wall and went, all right, well, we're gonna take that, and then try to make a movie out of it.
Well, they had like 10 writers on this thing.
Yeah.
Like throughout the process.
And well, they had to give credit to everybody because they had people who wrote like the original screenplay that were fired, like Max Landis, who had nothing to do with this one, but they still had to give him writing credit because they used the idea, like the Breakfast Club thing that he did. So like, there's little glimmers the whole way
That
through.
is a very Max Landis idea. That makes sense.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast with him talking about it, and he's like, "Yeah, you know, they told me they didn't want to do my route," and then I watched the trailer, and I was like, "Oh, that's just Chronicle. You told me not to write Chronicle, and then you went and made Chronicle. Thanks a lot, douchebags." It's like,
I am
he
curious.
has a way with words, that guy.
I'm curious. The two girls that were being bullied, what were they doing in the stall together? Like in the when
They were waiting for a surprise attack.
I guess so. It was just sort of strange.
Well, Kimberly
they
texted
bust
them
out
and
laughing.
Guys.
they texted Kimberly and they're like, come to like ladies' room.
Right.
Guys, we do that all the time. Like girls go into stalls together. We cut our hair.
I mean,
We-
I just
we,
barge
like,
into stalls with
that's-
other guys all the time. I just walk in
I
like,
mean-
"Oh, you using the
Strange.
bathroom?"
That's
High
pretty
school would have
normal.
been way more fun
We
if that were
just-
true.
What was funny is
we
this-
pee in front of each other.
it looked like there was a conversation already going on, and they were laughing off something that they had just spoken about,
Yeah.
and then they just bust out as if the lock breaks off the stall door, which it sort of seems that way.
They were tickling each other.
It was just strange.
probably
They're having a
a
pillow fight.
Yeah, they were probably having a pillow fight. That's normal. That's what we're doing when we go to the bathroom together. We're having pillow fights. We're cutting each other's hair. We're tickling.
Toenails?
We're definitely
Painting
we're,
toenails?
We're painting toenails.
Well, that's why
I
they're
knew it.
We're definitely talking about boys, but really more importantly, we are peeing in front of each other.
and that's why the stalls are so big and there's so many lines. It's like that's why it takes forever because they're like room-sized stalls.
Really
It's
getting
one
the
of
heart of Power Rangers here.
Yeah. I think we're matching the mismatched
Girls
tone
are
of this
mysterious
Yeah.
creatures.
Let's move into the what I would consider the elephant in the room. Let's talk about Elizabeth Banks.
I was just about to say that when you're saying the movie was all over the place, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because Elizabeth Banks was any different movie from everyone
Yes, she
else.
was.
She was in a Power Rangers movie. I
No,
think.
she wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
She was having fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the cost of the movie. I do not like Elizabeth Banks in this movie, and I thought
the
I was
only thing
so
I did like
I
about
was
this
so
movie.
excited for her as Rita Repulsa, and then I watched the movie. I'm like, these kids were making a different movie than her, and since they are the Power Rangers, she should have matched them, not them match her.
I don't think Elizabeth Banks is the one to blame. I think it's the writing.
I believe
Well,
the
and-
writer,
and
the
the
director.
directing.
Yeah, the
Right,
directing.
Right,
I would say
both
more.
those things, but in the sense that like you're killing people like viciously, and it was the idea that her character just kills people in a very vicious way. Like it made it feel darker and sort of showed this is a different path. This is not Ivan Ooze. I'm like, and I sort of appreciated that. I will agree with you, Brian. It was they were the Power Rangers just kicking and punching while Rita was just viciously killing.
Yeah.
And that shows you a villain versus the hero, but still it felt like two different tones of movies.
Yeah, I mean, because she like straight up murders that dude in the jewelry store. Like she gets the putties out, she goes kill him. It's not like destroy him or like something Power Rangery. It was just like, no, will you please just murder this man, please?
Well, she kills that cop.
And the cop, yeah.
and you hear about it on like the background radio or whatever. It's in some scene.
Also, I know you're tired, but why in the hell would you the fisherman leave your keys to the cop and just say you can lock it up when you're done? I'm gonna go home now.
It's a small
I take
fishing town.
small town logic there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really like I know this cop. I've been friends with this cop since forever.
They probably went to school together, had
Yeah.
detention
Okay.
together.
That
Yeah.
was one scene I actually liked when he was just like, it stinks down there. And he's like, yeah, that's really surprising
Yeah, that was a
that
great-
a
that was a good
fishing
line.
ship smells bad.
Originally, that guy was supposed to be the Jason from the original Red Ranger, but it did not work out.
Interesting.
Yep.
I was just curious how they pulled Rita up like accidentally, but she was also holding her power coin. But she also was able to animate and attack this police officer. But she's been chilling at the bottom of the ocean.
And she
for,
also
like,
dropped the power
millions of
coin when
years.
she died.
Yeah, so that was a little. I mean, there was a lot of instances of general fogginess in the story of how.
Not only that, the logistics of catching the. Okay, so just if we were to break down really quick how they catch fish, and I'm not a fisherman, I don't know how they do it, but
I'm gonna tell you.
But let's break it down.
But that net catches fish as they swim. It doesn't
Yeah.
go to the bottom of the
Exactly.
ocean and
Oh,
yeah.
scoop. So that means
Right.
that her body was floating.
So I take this as
man.
maybe for a second, Angel Grove was in California again, and there was an earthquake, and then it
Oh,
got
I'll take
shook
that.
loose.
No,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to assume.
Oh
happened.
God!
You can
Thank
go
God,
with
'cause I
that.
was worried maybe this movie didn't follow the laws of physics.
It
No,
does.
I'll I
Not
actually-
to worry.
I'll take that one. But I was just like, wait, she's been I was thought originally like she's just been floating there.
Yeah. No, she just floats around. Everything ignores her.
What is this
And
weird
it's
thing?
also
Ignore
really
it.
far from where they found the power coins, so like she really migrated out there.
Yeah.
From like
Maybe she's
should've
done
had
like she's done a
Barnacle.
couple laps of the earth.
Well,
you
to
know?
be fair, she got like thrown in the very beginning,
Yeah.
and then she gets thrown at the end. So she has a habit of being thrown.
it's true.
So that like her coin is always going to be far from everyone else's.
Yeah, that's true.
So to
It's
speak.
like Captain America's shield; it just comes back to her
Yeah.
wherever she is.
It
you
knows
go.
who its master is.
And a big one of the things that happened plot wise that kind of bothered me the most is that thing where like, what happened to us the next day after their car just completely biffs it? They should be dead, sort of thing. And I get that the coins did it, but they're so blasé about it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
suddenly alive. Like, back in my room.
Let's jump over this giant cliff because we'll be fine. It's like the Matrix.
I am totally fine with all of that. That's teenager logic.
But
like
then-
that is an idiot teenager.
But
I
then,
totally buy it.
then they go to Zordon. They meet Zordon. They meet Alpha 5. They do all of that, and then they're like, I don't believe in this Rita character. I don't think this is a thing. And they're and it's almost like where's the line drawn? And Scott last night we were watching it with Scott, and he mentioned this, and he sort of said like, wait, where's the line where you sort of go like, no, I'll believe in these powers that I have. I'll believe that I got home. But you know what? This crazy woman who's also in line with all this mess, I don't believe that.
So
if there's one thing that the last year has taught us, it's that no one will admit that women are capable of being powerful. They would believe
well,
anything before they will
there
believe
is
that.
that, and I would also go. They will only believe what they can see. They haven't seen Rita. Don't
That
believe in her.
actually is very teenager.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that yeah.
Flawless movie.
But I think then they should have had teenagers edit this then.
Or should have had another teenager on.
No,
this
that
episode.
happened. It was
Yeah.
called Triple X2.
Oh.
State of the Union.
I feel like I should
Oh,
also
Triple X3,
explain
pardon me.
some of
Triple
my
X3.
hostility to this movie, and there is a little bit. Because I was like, when does it end? God, please don't be listening to this, anyone who can affect my career. Anyway, but like I never. This is gonna come up sooner or later on this podcast because there's so much nostalgia that we talk about. One time when I was 6, I was watching Fraggle Rock, and my parents told me to go to bed, and I refused because I wanted to keep watching Fraggle Rock. And my punishment was to never watch television again. Little extreme.
That's a Rita Repulsa level.
Yes. So as a result, it was like another 8 years before I actually watched television. So all the things, also I'm older than everybody in here. So all the things that were important to you in your childhood, I missed like all of them. So I never watched Power Rangers. I've never seen an episode. I watched that one short film that Katie Sackhoff was in. That is literally my only exposure to this world. So this movie, you guys keep naming things. I have no idea what they are.
Zords.
I don't know who these characters are. I don't know what the Dinobots are supposed to be called.
Zords.
I don't know. Is that
It's still Zords.
Okay.
And then the Dinobots hug and they become Mega Dinobots.
Yeah, Mega Dinobots.
Megazord. Just say Zord.
That's stupid. That's a stupid word. So that's like I think this movie was definitely for people who are fans of the show. If you were not a fan of the show, I don't know, from my perspective, I was kind of like I don't understand this. I can't take this seriously. So it's definitely no nostalgia for me.
Well,
I think
and
that
for
killed
me,
it.
I've always been kind of outside of the Power Rangers. I've always been aware of it. Sort of like when you're passing a landmark, but you're like many streets down, so you can kind of see a faint glimpse of it. You get all the parts like, that seems interesting, and then you just can't be a part of it. So then you're kind of looking at these things from like an archaeological standpoint almost. Just like kind of like, what makes this special? And when I'm watching this movie, it's like I don't get what makes Power Rangers special based off of how this movie is constructed. Everything's trying so hard to get to these little parts that are so cool, but like they're ignoring so much else that's like, okay, I see what you think Power Rangers are. But then that doesn't seem to jive with what other people who really like Power Rangers seem to think about it.
Okay, so
There's
for
things
some
that don't quite work or add up that just seem like, well, who are you making this for?
Okay, so that's the question. So for people like Chris and myself, we're in. Like they're making a Power Rangers movie.
sure.
I'm gonna go see it in theaters.
Exactly.
Jason as well, who saw it with me in theaters. But for somebody who was never like, if you're not interested in this at all, like, would you rather them go for the TV audience and then just kind of enjoy the fact that they're entertaining somebody, or would you rather them go for you, somebody who's never watched it before?
Ideally, you try for both.
That's what this did.
I think that's what they tried to do.
I think they definitely tried to do
did
both.
not succeed.
Because as somebody who's I mean, I would agree with that more so.
agree.
But
Yeah.
I've watched every season up till Dino Charge. I haven't watched anything from Dino Charge on. But
They are Dinobots.
okay.
No, that was a particular season.
That's
It's
just
different.
one season.
Okay, all right.
Well, it's not just one season. It's a few seasons. But still, like, I've watched everything. And as a diehard fan of this series, where I haven't really missed much of anything, it doesn't really hit home for all the stuff that I love about Power Rangers. It's more of just kind of like winking and nodding at it.
Sure.
Whereas I know people who just watch like Jason, who just watched the original series, like, oh, that was fun. It was kind of
No,
like
well, I watched the original. I was thinking about this last night. I watched the original. I watched all the way up to, I think, Space or Turbo. Because to do the polar opposite, I'm the youngest in the room. And I really, like, legitimately grew up from when I was 4 years old to a certain, I think it was probably until I was 7 or 8, where I went through Space and Turbo. And then I think around Turbo, when the second movie came out, I dropped off.
Turbo to Space.
Well, and I used to be of the
Excuse
mind
me.
that you'd want. I used to be of the mind that you'd want to achieve both audiences.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I thought that. But then I've seen so many times now where that's created such a mediocre product and like
Yeah.
something that's like, well, yes, these are decent mashed potatoes, but you need something more with it.
It's a skill. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons I love Star Trek 2009 so much. They did that with that movie, I think. They did a great job of having lots of in-jokes for people who are fans of the show, but also creating an approachable movie for people who've never seen Star Trek. It's doable, but yeah, it's really difficult.
And even reset the timeline in that Star
Yeah.
Trek. Like, they just, I mean, that's going to Star Trek, but...
Yeah. But it's doable, but like it is very challenging.
And
It's
And
there've
some of
been
that-
more failures and successes.
And some of that is just how the movie is very much in a hurry to get somewhere. And the movie is like...
This movie? Well,
very much in a
we
hurry.
watched a different movie. This movie's not in a hurry to do fucking anything.
And then that was part of its issue.
Yeah, this
is
movie's in a
is
hurry to
that
take its time.
They knew they thought that
like
they were going to
that.
get 3 movies after it. And I think if they knew that, nope, you only get money for one movie, the Rangers would have morphed way earlier in the film.
Yeah, because this movie, like, this wants you to get to know all 5 Power Rangers. That is the goal of this movie, not to show you a Power Ranger movie.
This is the prologue.
Yeah, this is entirely a because we'll get, 20 minutes, maybe, of Power Ranger action out of a 2-hour movie?
Yeah.
Like, this is not in a hurry at all. And that's actually why I like the movie as much as I do, because it actually took a moment to try to teach you who these people are.
But I think that it's not giving that the service. Like, so there's this kind of like, I don't know half of the Power Rangers, even when we get to them. Like the mysterious girl on the mountain dancing, who I think she was
Trini.
Deanie?
Trini.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, they do the Dee Dee joke throughout,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
Oh, so her name's not Dee Dee.
no, it's Trini.
it's
I was
Trini.
very
But they,
okay.
but they
I
do this
didn't-
Dee Dee joke, which even Rita isn't on, and I'm like, okay, I don't know.
Oh, that because I thought that was her name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
that joke did
confusing.
not land.
No.
And I love this movie. That was a oof.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
But it's like, for as much time as they spend with these kids trying to build their backstory, it doesn't feel like they cared. Like I'm all like, I kind of got what each one person was about way sooner than we got to the Power Rangers, and even I was starting to feel anxious. Like, okay, there's gonna be more to them, right? No, just suddenly this other kid comes in. He's taking care of his mom all of a sudden. Okay.
See, I totally disagree. Like this movie, like they do. I think they do a kind of a piss poor job with Trini. They try to give her something, but they really don't do anything. The whole like trying to make her like a gay superhero, which is. It's an admirable idea. It was. I think it was rather poorly executed. But like, I bought Zach's caring for his mom. I totally got that. Like, and I had recently lost my mom, and I watched this kid caring for his dying mother. I'm like, oh, I get that. That totally makes sense to me. I like that.
I also felt uncomfortable at how attracted I was to a teenage boy.
well, yeah.
Well, he's not teenage. If it makes you feel any better.
That's true.
But then, like Billy, I think that's why I bought the blue pop figurine. Like, I think the kid who played Billy was phenomenal. I thought
Billy
he did a
was
great-
definitely the highlight of the movie.
Yeah,
in terms
he
of
was-
Yeah,
character,
he
in
was
terms of
good,
actor.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he was definitely the star of the movie.
He felt real. He
And,
felt
like-
But let me ask
way
you
more
this.
real than
Yeah,
everybody
and like
else.
Totally.
Ryan, who did he recorded people like Ryan of our show recorded actors talking about this movie. He said out of all of them, the kid who played Billy loves Power Rangers, loves this
Yeah.
movie, and loved being in it. And I think that comes through in spades.
Totally.
And like I love the way they address him being on the spectrum. Like they don't make a thing out of it. He just says it, makes it clear of what's going on, and they move on. Like that's and I bought that from the friends that I know who have the same affliction. It was great to see them treat it with the same amount of care that those friends I have want it treated.
On the
Well,
flip,
and
on
the-
the flip side, though, really quick, Brian, if let's say there wasn't a plan for 6 more films, would you have wanted the same film, or would you have wanted more Power? Because I would have loved to get a little bit of more of dealing with these dealing with the Zords, dealing with like morphing and stuff like that. A little bit more. I loved what this movie had.
Yeah.
But I would have I'm not saying let's add another hour, but I would have loved that other side where I'm thinking, the best thing that they could do now financially is probably make this into a TV show and make it a little bit more low budget and try and make that work. But
Is it not still a TV show?
no,
It is.
I mean from this.
No, I
particular
mean
movie.
that was so it's
Oh
still,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it
still
is
on.
still a
I
TV
do
show.
wanna
Yeah.
kind
But
of
it's 2 different worlds.
bring
Oh,
up what
okay.
you said about the relationship taking care of the mother. I think I liked that the most, but I think I wish I had more of that.
talk directly
Oh,
to
more of that.
There
I
it
wish
is.
I wish I had more of that taking care of her relationship, or at least like why did we take so long to get there? Because I was like that was the real moment, and then everyone else kind of felt fake, except for Billy, who felt like real. Like him and the guy taking care of his mother. Like I don't know, it was mismatched, and it's hard to put like when I say it's in a hurry, it's more like it just feels missing. Like you said earlier in the cut, they must have cut out more of them or the right things. There's like kind of an element of like what's the right characterization versus like what they had on screen, and I think his was good and Billy's was good, but like it just feels so disconnected.
Sure.
This is one of those movies where, just like Rogue One, I want to see the original cut, and we're probably never going to be able to see it. Like Rogue One had the same thing where they just redid the ending, and and there's been articles about how there was this other ending where they survive and blah blah blah.
Mm.
Wrong ending.
yes.
But I'm still really interested to see where the original creative
that stuff's
went.
fascinating.
The
Yeah.
original-
Yeah,
well,
it's really cool to see that,
well,
and I know we're never gonna see
Just to
this
jump
movie.
down that rabbit hole for a second, the original creative ending of Rogue One was to kill everybody, but they backed off of that because he didn't think Disney would allow them to do it. So he rewrote the ending to have them survive, and then like, no, I think they should all die. He's like, really? I can do that? Oh, then I'll do that.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I only mentioned that because in the trailer there's so many shots that we didn't see in the film, and even if it does lead to the bad ending, as you call it, I still would have been interested. No, I would have loved to see more of the London Underground in the future.
It's great when they put the alternate endings on a DVD so you can like see what was not done, and 99% of the time you're like, oh yeah, that's the right call.
Oh, you want to have a fun one? Watch the alternate ending to 28 Days Later. Whew.
Is it bleak?
Oh, it's bad. It's just
bad.
Bad. All right, so we're kind of running a little low on time here. What have we not talked about that we need to mention beyond Zordon?
Can I know I feel like I'm monopolizing so much of this conversation, but like
can you complain more about the movie?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Let's be very clear that around the table, the fans, as we've identified it, liked it, and obviously you both. I mean, it's a mixed feelings around the table. I think overall we're nitpicking a little bit. I really enjoyed it, but I'll put it this way: I'm probably not going to buy it.
I've already bought it.
Yeah,
Same.
I rented it last night to rewatch it.
Yeah.
Like,
I also went in with super low expectations because I had heard a lot about this movie in production.
Yeah.
And I had known people who had worked on the movie, and a lot of people were like, it's the Breakfast Club, and then there's like 20 minutes of fighting at the end. So I went in with super low expectations. I was pleasantly surprised by how much I liked the movie. But that being said, I feel like it was a fun movie, but was it a good Power Rangers movie? Probably not. I don't think it did what it needed to do as a Power Rangers movie to launch the franchise. They needed to do so many things. They needed to make the fans happy. They needed to get people with nostalgia. They needed to get new, like, young fans to reinvigorate this franchise and like launch.
I did really like
this,
that they casted not unknowns per se, because there is what's her name, who is the Yellow Ranger, but,
Becky G.
Becky G. But I do really appreciate that.
But still relatively unknown.
I didn't recognize
Yeah.
them in the same way that I really liked the original X-Men, because it came out when I was younger, so I didn't recognize who Halle Berry was. Like, other than Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, I liked how they casted that movie. Like, I like how they cast unknowns for these kind of films.
But I agree with what he's saying. Like, I think as like a Power Rangers fan, I think you're right. I don't think they nailed a Power Rangers movie. It felt like a Power Rangers fan film with a fucking huge budget.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, I enjoy the hell out of it. It gave me a Power Rangers movie.
I mean, it was ambitious, and you could tell that it was like handled with care, which is I appreciate as a fan.
Yeah.
And also a lot of fans loved it because this movie was all characterization, and that's something that the series is not about.
Well, that's been weird to watch, because I watched the original 90s movie, and then I watched the Twitch stream of a bunch of episodes of the show, and then I watched this. I'm just like, yeah, there's confusion as like, did you guys watch Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Were you fans of Power Rangers?
Well, it gave fans what they wanted in terms of fans have always wanted more as far as like characterization and like making this like a richer story beyond just like martial arts. I think that this movie does achieve that. Like, I think that it gives the fans what they want, and that like that was a piece of the puzzle that was missing.
Yeah.
The action stuff was cool, but it needed to be like way more of it. Like, there was no hand-to-hand combat. You start in this like really awesome, like millions of years ago. Like, I thought that set the tone, but then you don't get back to that for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think that it just, even the hand-to-hand stuff, like they ended up cutting that fight was even cut down, because of budget stuff. And I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't have designed suits that relied on CGI. Maybe you shouldn't have had villains that relied on CGI. Like, I know you don't want to do foam rubber costumes because you want to make yourself as authentic Hollywood as possible. You want to like bring that production value, but at the same time, I think there were choices they could have made. Like, did we need to have do we need to have 2 like car chases, with like Jason and the cops and then the kids in the van
ending the exact same way with a huge crash? It's like,
I'm not saying I didn't enjoy those
like
things, but I'm saying that like there were talk to any fan, talk to any filmmaker. I'm sure they would have made a variety of different choices. But I think they just, again, I keep going back to that cardinal sin of like, they just thought they had so much more. Like, even in the special features, Haim Saban's like, this is an origin story. Like, we're going to be launching a franchise off this. And you can't depend on that when you don't have the audience banked. Like, you need that first movie you need to give it everything that you can. And I think it was more like, let's lay the groundwork, and then this movie's going to, like, they took for granted that it was going to do well. And that they were going to have more movies to like play with the rest of it. And I think that they just, the cards didn't line up for them.
I think, and that's a really odd assumption, because I mean, Power Rangers has always been popular. Like, it's always been like people know what Power Rangers is. Like, it's always been in pop culture a little bit. But the first movie didn't do great. Turbo did fucking terrible.
Yeah,
awful.
As well it should have.
Yeah.
But like this movie, like it was not the slam dunk guarantee that I feel like the people making this movie assumed it was.
And I think that it could have been a slam dunk, and I think that there needed to be more like, again, if you have this movie, this franchise that's like banked on nostalgia, like more people than I would have anticipated that I wouldn't have identified as fans of this movie before the movie came out were like, I can't wait to see this. We're seeing it opening weekend, and the opening weekend was a surprising, like it did 40 something, I think.
Yeah, it did really well the first
weekend.
weekend.
It overperformed. Because everyone wanted to go see it. And that weekend was the weekend it needed to get everyone in to be like, oh, hey, I just saw Power Rangers, and it was actually really good. And all of the fans felt that way, but there weren't enough of like the general public pulled in from like the way the movie performed for them to keep bringing in that audience.
Yeah.
And this is a total non sequitur, but one point I really wanted to make was like there were two things that really bugged me more than anything else about this movie. One was that revenge porn shit, and the other one was and I don't know, this may be the show, because again I don't know, but like when they walked in there as a group and that little robot dude was like
Alpha 5.
Okay, was like. And you're colorful, whatever. And you're also colorful kids, pointing out that it is full diversity, which is great. That every kid is a different color. We have a lesbian. We have, we have kids from all colors. It's all good. We're all represented. And then Bryan Cranston has a name, I'm sure.
Zordon.
Okay, Zordon.
Dinodon, yeah.
Is that why they're called Zords? Because they're Zordons?
Sure.
Okay, whatever.
We'll just say yes.
Yes. All right. I'm trying to understand. I'm not really.
No,
trying.
you're not.
I'm trying to be comedic. So like then he's just like, Jason, you're the white boy. You should be the leader. Like honestly.
Well, he's the Red Ranger.
Yeah, he's
so
the
Red
Red
Ranger's
Ranger.
always the leader.
Well, okay though.
He picked up the red coin.
But like because he's a fucking white boy. Like, that is if that is not a symbol of unearned,
in this world
unearned fucking privilege. I don't know what it is. Like you get to be in charge
It's
because
a valid-
you picked up the red stone, and it's like, yeah, that's just
Coin.
like white dudes. They're like, you were born white, therefore you get to be in charge of everything.
Otherwise,
So
it
I
would-
don't know. Maybe this movie is a commentary on privilege. Never mind. I take it back.
See, they didn't want to make a gimmick movie.
I will want to ask the two big-time Power Ranger fans in the room, because personally, we're gonna jump, and I'm happy to show you this video after all of this, after the podcast is over. But there was a fan.
He's pointing at me.
There is a fan-made Power Rangers film that was on YouTube. It got pulled because Spawn.
Oh, she
pulled
mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, Kate Stockholm.
Yeah.
Actually, yesterday I
Wait,
worked
I thought it
with-
was Audie. What's his name?
Yeah, Adi Shekhar.
Yeah, Audie Shekhar.
Yesterday, I worked with a guy who was actually on that movie, and he was showing me stills.
I would have loved for that film to exist.
Never in a million years.
Same.
Really?
That is
Yeah.
fucking sacrilege to Power Rangers.
It was
Oh, I
also,
loved it.
It was
I
designed.
loved it.
And this guy was even telling me it was designed to be controversial. Like that's
Yeah.
why they made it, was to piss
Oh, I
people
loved it.
off. And
I
get
liked the
attention.
combat in it for like 2 seconds, and then the rest of the movie, it's fucking bullshit. And it's like, blech.
I think that's why I was really interested to see how they handled that in this movie, because like Power Rangers and like Dark and Gritty are like diametrically opposed to each other.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're dealing with like this fun, campy
yeah.
series with kids in rainbow spandex, and then you're trying to make it like Dark Knight, Dark and Gritty. And I feel like it definitely needed to. I mean, I think it maintained a decent balance as far as like between like the campiness and like I feel like it was a good mix, but I don't know.
I agree with that. No, it's definitely they are definitely juxtaposed. I just thought it was a really cool take, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I mean,
I liked it because I don't know the show.
And
Yeah.
here's my point. This is exactly it. Is because in the like, if you would have seen that movie, let's extend that out. I know it's not. I know from the other people in the room, it's not great, and it goes against.
It's not
everything
Power Rangers.
And that goes
Would
back
you
though
have-
to the question.
But would you have wanted to watch that movie?
More than this one, yeah. But that goes
there
back
you
to the
go.
question over what's your priority,
Sure.
appealing to fans or
Yeah.
appealing
Oh, yeah.
to new people.
Without
Yeah,
a doubt.
and like in this one, tried to do both. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
the long and the
That's
short
true.
of like that
good
movie
point.
to me, I would have. I mean, I would have seen it because it's Power Rangers, but
shot
it's
in
just
the head, and it just bounces. That was so cool.
it's just not Power Rangers.
Yeah,
Like,
I
ugh.
get why it isn't. I just really liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Power Rangers subreddit, like loathed that movie. Like everyone who posted it got like 0. Like it's just immediately just downvoted.
But they watched it, and that was the point.
They did, yeah.
They intentionally made something that would piss people off, that would go.
Oh,
viral.
and you know the thing is, and I get that, and I'm fully embracing like alternate takes. And if he were to make another
Totally.
one, I'd watch that one too. Like I like all for it. Like take something, make it your own. That's like that is what fans should do. That doesn't mean I want to watch a 2-hour version of it.
And it's also controversial because of the copyright issues. I mean, the production value of that was really high for a fan film.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Well, they shouldn't have put tits in it. I mean,
Yeah.
If that movie didn't have tits, it probably would have done better.
If this
Yeah.
had come out post Axanar, they would be in way worse shape than they are now.
Yeah. But I think we've hit pretty much everything. We didn't really talk about Zordon much. He's just kind of a dick in a wall.
Fine.
Yeah. What about the suits? Do we have time to talk about the suits?
We can talk about the suits. Do you like the suits?
I don't like the suits.
I hate the suits.
Yeah, they're bad. The whole like thing they do with like why are you giving them civilian powers? Which by the way they inherited. Like they pulled that from Disney. Started doing that when Disney bought the franchise.
Yeah, I got
Is
him on
they
my laptop over there, Dino Thunder, man.
Oh yeah, there you go. They started trying to infuse them with the civilian powers. I'm like, why are you doing the things that like originally morphing was like the thing that gave you the powers, and in this movie it's just about armor at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but the thing is once they morph, they never use their armor to like they never get hit.
Nope.
Not once do they get hit. So I'm like, why are you talking about armor?
As someone who in their last movie, the last one we talked about, was trying to figure out the hierarchy of the morphing. I'm glad I watched that one first because this made no sense. I was so why are you doing this way? Why do you need this now? Why can't you morph now? What's the what? I don't get, huh? But
Well,
I
they
had
do
that
explain
knowledge.
it in this one.
Yeah.
They do fully say you don't elevate the fight until the enemy does.
Right.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, I totally agree. Like they're all about like we need to get our armor so we can fight Rita, and it's like once they get the armor, it's like well you're doing everything you were doing before. It's just now there's CGI people instead of you.
Yeah.
Right.
You were still fighting putties when
Yeah.
you weren't morphed, and you did that just fine.
There's one throwaway line of like, oh, this is so much better in armor, and it's like okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never really got their asses kicked, other than when they were Rita tied them up and.
When they weren't wearing their armor. But
Yeah.
I
Or
kind of
in the
assume-
hologram areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I agree. I think the suits were just. I think they're a poor design. I think it was kind of trying to cash in on the design of Iron Man a little bit, which I heard a lot before I actually looked at them. And I looked at them like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. They were just very overworked.
I do like the galaxy thing in the chest. I thought that was kind of a cool way to kind of make it themselves. But I miss the classic design, like the ones that we have here. I think there's a reason why people
You can't get that and have the same movie we saw. It's campy.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
the
I'm
thing,
not saying.
yeah.
You can
No.
have Rita Repulsa.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not saying that I have the answer to whatever the costume should have been. It obviously couldn't have been what was on the series because you need to plus it up.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been the first movie, which I mean, I love the first movie suits.
Yeah.
But they were a little. I mean, obviously those were a little campy too. The design behind those was like they wanted to make the Rangers feel like Cadillacs, is what those costume designers were talking about. But for these ones, like again, like you said, like I liked the attempted visual tie-in of like the morphing grid and like how that all worked. But I just don't think that they were very visually pretty, and they I mean, they look okay in the dark, but as soon as you start putting any kind of light on them, they just look cheap.
I think they should have been brighter. Like I feel like
Yeah.
the yellow should have been more yellow. The pink should have been more pink.
Well,
Like,
and
they're
they push all those colors in the marketing now, because they're like, oh, we should have done that.
Yeah.
There
So,
were
like,
times when yellow looked a little green. on
yeah,
screen.
yeah. Like they just didn't like they're a little too muted. Like they should have popped. Like there's something about Power Rangers that's inherently dorky and cheesy. You're having kids
Sure.
wearing suits fighting big rubber monsters.
And I think
they should have leaned into that just a little bit.
And there's the difference of why I was trying to figure this out, because as I was watching this, I was like, last week I went on a rant about why Battleship is so great.
Yeah.
Because it's so terrible.
Yeah.
This
a
movie
great
is
movie.
terrible for me, and I didn't feel anything great about it. And I think that's why, because there wasn't enough of a, like, they didn't go all the way there. They didn't go, either make a serious movie or make a campy movie. It's like kind of what happened to Snakes on a Plane. It's like you can't have it both
Yeah.
ways.
It felt like they're a little embarrassed of their source material.
Yeah.
that's it. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Because I've come around to it. Like, I think for as unapologetic as this franchise has been throughout history, it was like, oh, well, we want to get the people who don't really like it. Well, we're sorry
Yeah.
for that. We'll make it look dark. I kind of wish the movie had said fuck you to me, or like fuck me, and just been like, we're going to be colorful. This isn't going to make any sense, and you're going to be on board with it because we're just doing our thing.
Make a choice.
And I've turned to that more so now after watching these takes, these simmering melting pot of ideas. I was like, just be what was so cheesy about it. I like cheesy way more now than I thought I did. And this movie kind of
Especially
exemplifies
now you
that.
have a kid. Everything's
Yeah.
cheesy now.
Right.
But like there's Power Rangers would not still be on the air today if people weren't inherently okay with the cheese factor.
Sure.
Exactly.
It wouldn't still be
Agreed.
around. I still wouldn't be watching it. Like it would have failed. So the idea that this movie was so afraid to lean into that cheese, that's, for my opinion, the cardinal sin. Like, that's, if they had just kind of embraced what it is, I think it would have been a more successful film. I still enjoy the movie because
Sure.
it's a Power Rangers film, but at the same time, like that, there's a reason why I will still like the original movie more than this one, because
I
the
thought
original
this was
movie-
a perfect movie. Like that's
It
when
is.
you came in hot.
So if that's the bar, I mean, whew. But no, like it's I'll
But I
win.
But I will say,
don't.
and you guys are going to disagree with me, but I will say,
I disagree.
This movie versus Ivan Ooze, Mighty Morphin, I would actually watch Mighty Morphin again before I watch this one.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, no, I totally, because that movie, it leans into it. It knows what it is.
Yeah.
The one thing I brought it up on every
So I
time.
thought you were talking about the show.
Oh no! If I'm going to watch a movie again, I'd
Yeah.
rather watch that one.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I'll bring up that I've brought up every time I've ever done a Power Rangers episode on anything that I really find funny is during the first movie, Saban was determined to try to make a helmet where you could see the actors' faces.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can look at all like the behind the scenes promo stuff, and those masks were horrendous.
Yeah, they were bad.
Just awful. And then he gets full control of this movie, and guess what happens?
Yeah, you see their faces.
Yep.
At least these, at least
I
in
thought that
this
was
movie, it looks
creative, by
better.
the way.
I think
thought that
they
was
made it
creative.
work. It's definitely way better than what they had back in the 90s when they made the other movie.
Yeah, I mean, literally in the 90s, all they did was literally take out the mouthpiece and the visor, but the helmet was the same. Whereas in this movie, like, it changes a little bit when like their faceplate morphs away.
It's a little bit like Mystic Force.
Not Mystic Force. I was thinking of like Lightspeed Rescue did the visors, where like, the
that's true.
visors cleared out.
I was thinking the one with the capes. Don't they have the...
Clearly, the table is divided.
Oh no, I know you're talking about.
I have
Yeah,
no
I thought
idea
they had
what-
that
yeah.
one. I could be wrong about the series. But
No, they don't.
Yeah,
It's the one who's like the light blue one that does. Am I thinking the wrong?
I think you're thinking. Thinking of something else.
Guys, there's 3 people at this table who have no idea what's
That's
going
okay.
on
We
the
let
other
we
side of the table.
we went on like a 10-second tangent.
I could have gone way worse.
But I think like I think that this movie, they were like, we've got this movie, let's make it more serious, let's make it like let's please the adult fans, because they know that they've got adult fans. Like, that's a lot of those people who were kids when the show was at its prime, like, are now the adult fans. But they've also got the series, so like the series has become sillier and sillier over the last. I mean, it's Power Rangers, but like it's become especially kiddie. And I feel like they've done that because they're like, okay, we're going to start this movie franchise. We've got this movie franchise that serves our adult fan base, and we've got the series, which like now we can lean a little more toward into like the kiddie stuff and like the visual gags and these sorts of things. And so I'm interested to see how they reconcile the series in the future if they don't keep going down this movie route. But the movie, I was a little surprised when they were when Dean Israelite, the director, was talking about how they, it's for kids, it's for families, and I'm just like, I mean, I saw the movie and it's not super
I
kid
would
friendly.
not call this for kids.
Yeah, no.
Like with like the darkness
the
and like
murdering.
they drop a couple like shits and
It's PG-13, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not... by the number alone, it's not necessarily for kids.
They
Yeah.
kill a
They
child
open
in
with
this
it.
movie.
They
Yeah.
also open with a joke about masturbating a bull. So.
Yeah, so...
There's 2 masturbation jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
the I'm morphed in the
I'm-
shower laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I missed that. Oh.
Yeah, and then in like the
that's a
bloopers, even Bryan Cranston leads into that one. Oh, then morph again.
Yeah.
Just do it right now then.
Oh, does he-
Oh, Zordon, you're gross.
Yeah. These are fucking teenagers, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's gross.
yeah, that's the thing, though. These are
But
teenagers.
there's
and they would
teenagers.
make that
They're
joke.
Yes,
masturbating
but he
constantly.
shouldn't be making that joke.
Right.
He's like 1,000 years old. Or
I-
something.
Zordon or Cranston?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, Billy or the actor?
Oh,
I
goodbye.
think it's time for quotes. Quotes, quotes. I'm going to go first because it was...
I was like, yeah, who wants to start?
Yeah. Now, my quote for this one, it's not necessarily the best line in the movie, but it's the first time that I went, oh, he's the best part of this movie.
I am sensing a Billy quote.
It is definitely a Billy quote. No,
I can go first.
Yeah, let somebody else go first. I wrote mine
I
down
think
wrong.
it describes this table perfectly. So I guess the father from the guy from Gilmore's Girls, who, the father of Jason. I don't know that actor, but
David
Blue Blood,
Denman.
wasn't he?
well, sorry.
David Denman from The Office.
There you go. Yeah. I don't think we're ever going to understand each other. And I really think that when it comes to like the discussions we've had today, versus people who have grown up or have watched Power Rangers versus who haven't, that perfectly describes how this movie came out.
Sure. Mine is it's a Billy quote, and it's when he's in the Zords and he goes, "Yippee ki yay, mother! Mother's good. Mother's good." It's like, oh, I love this guy. He's great.
I have I loved when Rita Repulsa, because the fact that Elizabeth Banks just leaned so far into being a supervillain, that I love when she's just like, look at you trying to figure out my plan. I'll just tell you.
And this is not what I picked, but the whole thing with like a Krispy Kreme. Is that
We didn't talk about this, but yeah.
I'm kind of glad we didn't. I think everyone's hammered the Krispy Kreme thing so much.
Brian, is this podcast sponsored? Or should we name?
There are no Krispy Kremes on the table.
We're sponsored by mattresses. Shut up.
I want Krispy Kreme.
So
Can they sponsor?
my quote is where the mother of Trini.
Trini.
Okay,
Yeah.
the mother of Trini like just storms over to her at the table and she's like, pee in that cup, and just the way she delivers that line, I thought was funny.
It was.
It was.
I saw in the
liked it.
trailer too many times.
I
Yeah.
didn't watch the trailer.
I-
so.
I watched no trailer.
I had two quotes. I liked when they're about to die and fall into the pit of fire, and Billy has his "Thank you for being my friends." I thought that moment resonated well for me, because like Power Rangers at the end of the day is all about like, you know, having a larger purpose and coming together and like, you know, friendship and unity. So I appreciated that as like a franchise fan. And then there's the quote that Emily, you mentioned earlier about 5 kids, 5 colors, 5 differently colored kids. I thought I like that quote just because it's just like, I mean, it's Bill Hader cheesiness, but I love it because it's just like, I mean, that's what it is. It's just like, it's 5 kids, they're 5 different colors. They're, you know, Power Rangers has always been about diversity as far as like they've always had a multi-ethnic cast, and it was good. It's just a good. Even though it's not necessarily a kids movie like I was just talking about, but it's a good like thing for kids to be able to see like, oh, I mean, there's an opportunity in that movie to see yourself in a lot of the different characters. So I appreciated that.
I still think the best Bill Hader line was "We'll kill you. Kill me? How?" Just so excited.
He had lots. I watched the outtakes the first time last night, and he had a bunch of good. One-liners. He's Bill Hader.
I mean, that's why they hired him.
Sure.
Yeah. I like the one when he's walking with them. Like, yeah, you guys look cool, but
yeah.
we need to get somewhere. You can speed up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so the review system for today is going to be, we've done this one before, but I don't mind. Any 90s property.
Property?
So that
How do
can
you
be a
define?
movie. How do you define?
You created the fucking thing.
Yes.
That's my response. Any 90s property, whatever you want.
Like we're just comparing it.
Yeah. So I'll go first because mine's going to be really on the nose, but
Okay.
I'll make it easy. I'm going to go with VR Troopers. We are VR, virtual reality. Supreme virtual reality.
I like it.
So I go with that one mostly because that one kind of had the same problem in the idea of like, hey, we want to do this show about kids morphing to have a bigger purpose, but they leaned a little too serious when they should have gone a little bit more campy and it would have been more fun.
Okay, I'll take that.
And I know one of the editors from VR Troopers, and she still is like, "You watched that? Why?" And it's like, "It was great." She's like, "It wasn't."
It was by definition terrible. They were splicing together like 3 different shows.
Now, I'd leave it on at work where she's just like, "Why are you?" Like, I don't want to watch it ever again. It's like, yes, you do.
This is us vamping, so the rest of you guys can figure out your 90s
I have
definitions.
no idea what I'm going to say.
Okay, I got one. I think it's called the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest. It was that '90s, late '90s update where they tried to have like an internet-y VR thing that he jumped into, and it just kind of tried to toe that line the way this movie does of just both people who've never heard of Johnny Quest, the original, and like that, or people who were really fans. And as history goes, just from what I've read on the Wikipedia, it didn't work out the way they intended.
Poor show.
Armageddon.
Didn't that come out in 2000 or 2001?
Shut up.
No, it did not. It was
Yeah.
definitely
That was
96 or 97.
Because it's a team and there's some silliness and the world's ending and I don't know, just the scene of fucking Steve Buscemi sitting on that bomb, being like, "I'm gonna fuck this bomb."
Like Doctor Strangelove.
That's what this movie felt like.
Fair enough. I'm just glad we finally had one you didn't use Mad Max for.
Damn it! I don't want to profane Mad Max.
I'm offended by that.
I have no idea. I thought of my mind is that this is a movie that while they tried to bring to today's day and age, it didn't succeed. We'll disagree with this because I walked out going like, yeah, it was good. It was fine. It was like, I'm not like loving it, but it was fine. And that's sort of how I came out of this movie. And I'm thinking like it's one of those things that maybe it may have just in the bubble of the 90s worked. And today, if you tried to do it, audiences may not be pulled to it. Similar to how Pogs are. If you guys remember those.
Pogs?
Pogs. Thank you. If you guys know what you remember Pogs? Nope.
Yeah.
No one around the table.
I do.
They were circular discs that were about what would you call it? About a little bigger than a bottle cap. And
Yeah, it's
you would-
about like the size of like a $50.
yeah, $50, and you would slap them down, and it'd be a trading card. It's a version of a trading card game, and it lasted for about 5 to 6 years in the 90s, and then died.
5 to 6 years. I think I had mine for like 6 months before I was like,
Yeah.
"What? This was a bad idea. Yep, this was dumb. Shouldn't have spent money
But
on
it was
pieces
just
of cardboard."
it was like the 90s version of playing jacks. I think
I had the best slammer in the world, man. Like, it was great.
there you go. But
Yep.
but do you think it could work today?
It didn't work then.
They had Power Ranger Pogs for sure.
They
Oh,
did.
yeah.
I had a bunch of them. I lost my
They had
Black
make your
Ranger
own
one.
Pog
I was,
maker.
Oh, so mad.
I didn't make your own Pog
Dang.
maker, which I had. Anyway,
Last but not least.
Oh man, I'm spacing on the now you said VR Troopers, and that's all I can think of because of Zordon and the hard drive.
Yep.
Because literally, I'm still trying to figure out what exactly Zordon is in this movie, just because
He's a dick in a wall.
they capture his essence is captured in the ship, and I'm like, okay, so is he AI? Is he
I think of the Jor-El kind of thing from Superman, Man of Steel.
okay?
See, I thought he was kind of like Johnny Depp in the end of that terrible movie.
You're going to have to be way more specific.
The one where he turns into a computer.
Oh, Transcendence. I didn't hate that movie.
Oh, it's bad.
I watched it on TV, but like I didn't.
So did
hate,
I.
I didn't hate that. It was interesting to watch.
That's a very kind way to put it.
Yeah.
Chris, we're still vamping, so you can get one.
I mean, I'm gonna probably have to go with My So-Called Life, just because. Okay.
He said property. He didn't say movie.
Yeah.
That was very well. Neither is VR Troopers, but go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, just in terms of how, I mean, I didn't want to say Breakfast Club again because everyone and their mother has said that at this point. Even my father, who, like, we went to go see Rogue One and they played the Power Rangers trailer, and he leans over because, like, it's very Breakfast Club until the last like 2 seconds where they show the flash of like the Ranger suits or whatever. Yeah, I'll go with that.
That works.
That works.
All right, so that's everything for today. I'm glad we all agree on how great this movie is.
Sure.
That's definitely the conclusion we reached today.
Yeah, you guys might have even brought me down a little bit on it, which is very upsetting. I'll just have to watch it again to cleanse my palate.
Just have a little tassel late at night. You're like, rah rah Power Rangers.
No, it is a good movie.
It is good, goddammit.
Emily's wrong.
The fan in me loves the movie.
Yeah.
Me and the Hollywood in me is like, they should have done some things differently, but
That is an excellent way to put it. Like Power Rangers fan, yeah, it's great. Movie fan,
Yeah. And that's
yeah. So next week we have this whole episode was about nostalgia. Next week's movie is entirely about nostalgia.
It definitely is.
We're talking about Train Spotting 2 next week with a good friend of the show, Elliot Campos, who's on his way over to our apartment right now. Because we're recording this in the future.
Don't give away secrets.
I like giving away. They're not secrets, they're teases. So thank you so much for Chris for coming out. Do you have anything you need to plug? Anything you'd want people to listen to or watch or experience?
follow Celestial Fury on Twitter for the latest updates on my 12-year-old Power Rangers fan film.
Can you say that again? What is it?
Celestial Fury.
Celestial Fury. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said Slush Joe. I'm like,
I
what?
thought you said
Slush Joe.
I thought you said slashes of fury.
You really need to grab that username anyways.
Yeah,
now
Slush
that you've
Joe
said
Fury.
it. Because that is awesome. Maybe make that your personal one, like Slush Joe Fury.
Yes.
Yeah. So Celestial Fury.
Check it out. This year's the 10-year anniversary of when we actually shot it back in Chicago. So,
Nice.
aiming to get it through in these next couple months, because if it gets older than 10 years, I'm going to cry.
I've had a few films like that eventually like, this is not coming out.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to come out one way or the other.
Yeah, mine is existing on a hard drive, which I've watched a few times and going, I should have done better. But it didn't have power gen, so that's what I get. Jason, anything to plug?
Twitter handle the Jason William, and for Comic-Con 2017, because this is going up on Wednesday.
Thursday.
Oh, so if you are at Comic-Con this week and are listening in, go to RottenTomatoes.com/YOS, and you guys you could state your unorthodox or your controversial opinions for a movie and just sign up there.
That's Your Opinion Sucks, correct?
It's Your Opinion Sucks at the Omnia nightclub. This coming, this Thursday,
This is
Friday, and
Thursday.
Saturday.
So today, tomorrow, and Saturday.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, I did that once, and I had Scott Mance literally scream at me, "My opinion sucks."
I still need to get you your footage.
I will probably be at the Thursday panel.
Today's panel.
Cool.
Yes, today's panel.
Yes.
But I mean, obviously, I don't want to be yelled at. But I will be there and I will wave at you.
You don't get yelled at. You don't get yelled at.
You get yelled at. You definitely get yelled at.
Well, it's just like, Power
Speaking
Rangers,
from
we
experience, you definitely get yelled at, either by the people at the table or everyone around you. You will be yelled at. But it's in good fun. I had a
To be
great time
honest,
doing
It's
it.
in good fun.
Yeah, I had a
can
great time. I loved it.
I can defend myself pretty well, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. By the time you leave today, I'll probably have convinced myself.
I would highly recommend going. It's one of my favorite panels at like every convention. I've
And
been to.
we
It's a lot of fun.
And without giving too much away, without ruining any surprises, don't want to use the word revamp, but we're definitely adding a lot more fun. We're adding a lot more guests. Not just critics are coming. And yeah, and we understand that it's Comic-Con, so we got to go big. And that's why we're doing it for 3 days at the Omnia nightclub space.
Nice.
I wish I was going to Comic-Con. I would definitely go to it.
From 1 to 2:30 every day, or from 12. Show up at 12.
12 to 2:30?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so that's everything for today. Thank you so much for everybody for coming out. And bye!
May the power protect you.